It started with a simple notification. I wasn't even supposed to be awake at that hour. The glow of my phone screen was the only light in my room, casting long, eerie shadows on the walls. I should have been asleep. I had an early morning shift at the coffee shop, but insomnia had me scrolling aimlessly through Instagram, clicking through stories I didn't care about, liking posts out of habit, not interest. Then, it happened. Ding. A message notification popped up on my screen. It was from a username I didn't recognize at Phantom Echoes. My heart sank a little, the way it always does when something unexpected happens in the dead of night. "Hey, you up?" The profile picture was odd. A black and white photograph of a face partially obscured by shadows. Something about it felt off, but curiosity won out. "Who is this?" I typed back, against my better judgment. The three little dots appeared almost instantly. "Don't you remember me?" I hesitated. It felt like the kind of thing an old friend might say, but I couldn't place the name or the face in the profile picture. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. "No, sorry. I don't think I know you." Another immediate response. "You will." I stared at the screen, my pulse quickening. What did that even mean? Before I could decide whether to block them, another message came through. "Check your camera roll." My blood ran cold. I tapped out of the app and opened my gallery. Everything seemed normal at first. Selfies, pictures of my cat, random screenshots. Then I saw it. A photo I didn't take. It was a picture of me, lying in bed, illuminated by the glow of my phone. The angle suggested it had been taken just moments ago. The room felt darker suddenly, like the shadows on the walls were creeping closer. My breathing grew shallow, and I fought the urge to scream. My trembling fingers switched back to Instagram. "What the hell is this?" I typed furiously. The response came instantly, as though they were waiting for me. "Nice smile." I hadn't been smiling. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall with a dull thud and landed on the carpet. For a moment, the room was silent, except for the sound of my own breathing. I debated calling someone, anyone, but who would believe me? Cautiously, I retrieved my phone. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. When I opened Instagram, the messages were gone. The account had disappeared. I tried to convince myself it was some kind of sick joke, but deep down, I knew better. Sleep was out of the question after that, so I sat awake until dawn, every creak of the house making me jump. The next day at work, I was a zombie. My coworker Sam noticed right away. "Rough night?" she asked, handing me a latte. "You have no idea," I muttered, staring blankly at the coffee machine. I didn't tell her what happened. Part of me didn't want to relive it, and the other part feared she'd think I was crazy. But the messages didn't stop. That night, just as I was starting to feel normal again, my phone buzzed. This time, it was a text message from an unknown number. "Did you miss me?" My heart sank. I didn't reply, but another message followed. "Check your window." I froze. My apartment was on the second floor, and my window faced an alley. It wasn't a place anyone should be standing. Slowly, I turned my head toward the window. The blinds were down, but faintly, I could make out the silhouette of someone standing outside. I bolted from my room and locked myself in the bathroom, phone clutched in my hand. "Who are you? What do you want?" I finally typed. The response came within seconds. "To play a game." I didn't reply. I couldn't. My fingers were shaking too much. After a few minutes of silence, another message came through. "Say hi to your mom for me." My stomach dropped. My mom lived 3 hours away, in a small town where everyone knew everyone. I dialed her number immediately. She answered on the third ring, groggy but concerned. "Sweetheart? It's late. Are you okay?" "Mom, are you alone?" I blurted out. "Yes. What's going on?" "Just lock your doors. Please. For me." She promised she would, but I could tell she thought I was overreacting. The messages didn't stop after that. Each night, they grew more specific, more invasive. Photos of me taken from angles I couldn't explain. Snippets of conversations I'd had that day, as though someone was listening. I reported the account. I changed my passwords. I even got a new phone, but it didn't matter. Whoever, or whatever, it was always found me. Desperation drove me to dig deeper. I started researching cyberstalking and hacking, hoping to find some logical explanation. That's when I came across a forum discussing urban legends about cursed accounts. One thread caught my eye. Have you been contacted by it, Phantom Echoes? I clicked on it. The stories were eerily similar to mine. Messages from the account, photos they didn't take, threats that felt all too real. But the posts all ended the same way. The user would stop responding. Their accounts would go silent. And then they'd disappear. I tried to brush it off as paranoia, but the sinking feeling in my gut wouldn't let me. That night, I blocked the number, deleted every app one could think of, and turned my phone off completely. But at 3:33 a.m., my phone turned itself back on. The screen lit up, displaying a single message. You can't ignore me forever. I didn't sleep that night, or the next. Each day, I grew more paranoid, more convinced that someone, or something, was watching me. I stopped going to work, stopped leaving my apartment, and then the final message came. Time's up. I don't remember what happened after that. I woke up in a hospital room, with no memory of how I got there. The doctors told me I'd been found unconscious in my apartment, clutching my phone. When I unlocked it, the messages were gone. The account didn't exist. It was as if it had all been a bad dream. But sometimes, late at night, I hear the faint ding of a notification, even when my phone is off. And I know it's not over. It all started with a notification. A tiny buzz at 2:48 a.m., a time I would normally be fast asleep. But that night, insomnia had me scrolling through Reddit, watching cat videos and half-heartedly reading conspiracy theories. The sound startled me, though. I didn't recognize the tone. When I looked at my phone, there it was. New message request. Unknown user. The profile picture was a static black square. The name was just as generic. System Admin 22. Normally, I would have ignored something so random, but I was already bored, and curiosity got the better of me. I clicked. Hello. You've been selected. Selected for what? I wondered, already regretting opening the message. What do you mean? I typed back, my skepticism apparent in those 4 words. The response came almost immediately, as if whoever, or whatever, was on the other end had been waiting for me to reply. To play. Do not leave. Do not block. If you do, the consequences will find you. A little chill ran down my spine. It was probably some kind of prank, or one of those bot scams designed to reel in suckers. I closed the app and set my phone down, determined not to think about it again. But then my phone buzzed again, and again, and again. It was relentless. Notifications from the same user poured in like an unending flood. I tried ignoring it, but the sound drilled into my skull. Frustrated, I finally picked it up. This time, the messages weren't words. They were pictures. The first one showed my apartment building. Not just the building, but my exact window. A sick feeling twisted in my stomach. The second one was even worse. It showed me, sitting on my couch, illuminated by the dim glow of my phone screen. I froze, my blood running cold. That picture had been taken right now. I scrambled to my feet, checking every door and window in my apartment. They were locked. The blinds were down. No one should have been able to see me. Who are you? I typed, my fingers shaking. The reply came almost instantly. I'm already inside. I spun around so fast I nearly tripped over the coffee table. My eyes darted to every corner of the room, searching for movement, a shadow, anything out of place. The silence pressed in, thick and suffocating, broken only by the pounding of my heartbeat. No one was there. I grabbed a kitchen knife from the counter. Cliché. I know, but what else could I do? My phone buzzed again, and despite every instinct screaming at me not to, I looked. Don't bother. I'm in the walls. It felt like my brain short-circuited. The walls? I thought. What kind of sick joke was this? I didn't even respond. Instead, I did what any rational person would do. I called the police. My fingers fumbled on the screen as I dialed. 911. What's your emergency? There's someone in my apartment, or near it, I stammered. They sent me pictures of myself. Just now. Please, send someone. The operator tried to calm me down, asking for my address and details. I answered as best as I could, pacing the room with the knife gripped tightly in my hand. Officers are on their way. Stay on the line with me, she said. I was about to thank her when my phone buzzed again. The screen lit up with a message. They can't help you. I almost dropped the phone. Did you hear that? I whispered into the receiver. Hear what? The operator asked, her tone steady but concerned. The answer came from inside my apartment. A soft thud echoed from the bedroom, followed by the faintest creak of floorboards. There's someone here, I breathed. Stay where you are, the operator urged. The officers will be there in. The call cut off. My phone screen went black. No, 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 I muttered, frantically pressing the power button. Nothing happened. It was like the battery had been drained in an instant. I wasn't alone. The knife felt pitiful in my hand as I backed toward the front door. My heart raced as I twisted the deadbolt, yanked the door open, and bolted down the hallway. I didn't stop running until I was outside, standing under the flickering streetlight in front of my building. I looked up at my window, half expecting to see a shadow move behind the blinds. But the light in my apartment was still off, and everything seemed normal. For a moment, I thought about going back inside. Maybe I'd overreacted. Maybe the messages were just some sick prank, and the noises in my apartment were my imagination. Then my phone buzzed again. It shouldn't have. The battery was dead. I hesitated before unlocking it. A new message from system_admin22 stared back at me. You're not fast enough. Attached was a picture of me, standing outside, under the streetlight. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My eyes darted to the empty street around me, searching for the person taking the photo. There was no one, just shadows stretching endlessly into the night. I didn't have anywhere to go, but staying outside felt just as dangerous as going back inside. My neighbors' apartments were dark, and I doubted anyone would answer if I banged on their doors. The police. They'd said they were coming. Maybe if I waited here, I'd see their lights flashing, hear the sirens, but the seconds ticked by, and the street remained deathly silent. My phone buzzed again. Run. I didn't even think. I bolted down the street, knife still in hand, lungs burning as I sprinted past darkened houses. The rational part of my brain screamed at me to stop, to figure out what was happening, but the primal fear had taken over. My feet pounded against the pavement until I reached the corner store on the main road. The fluorescent lights inside were a beacon of safety. I burst through the door, startling the lone cashier. Hey, are you okay? He asked, eyeing the knife in my hand. I probably looked insane, disheveled, wide-eyed, and clutching my phone like it was a lifeline. Call the police, I gasped. Someone's following me. He didn't ask questions. He picked up the store phone and dialed. Relief flooded through me as he spoke to the operator. Finally, I thought, I wasn't alone anymore. And then my phone buzzed. I didn't want to look, but I couldn't help it. Nice try. I glanced up at the cashier, and my blood turned to ice. His face was blank, his mouth half open as if frozen mid-word. He wasn't moving. The entire store had gone silent. The faint hum of the refrigerators, the distant buzz of the streetlights, everything had stopped. Hello? I whispered. No response. I took a shaky step backward, the knife trembling in my grip. Then another buzz. Time to end this. The fluorescent lights flickered, and in that momentary darkness, I saw it. A figure, watching me from the far end of the store. Its outline was wrong, too tall, too thin, and its head seemed to tilt unnaturally as if studying me. The lights came back on, and the figure was gone. I didn't wait. I ran out of the store, back into the empty streets. I ran until my legs screamed for mercy, ducking into side streets and weaving through alleyways, hoping to lose whatever was following me. My phone buzzed incessantly, but I didn't dare look at it anymore. I knew it wasn't going to stop, and every message felt like a countdown to something terrible. Eventually, I found myself in an abandoned parking lot on the edge of town. The streetlights here were dim, and the shadows seemed thicker, darker. I leaned against a rusted lamppost, clutching my knees, trying to catch my breath. That's when I felt it, a shift in the air. Like the world was holding its breath. The buzzing stopped. I glanced at my phone, half expecting another message. But the screen was blank, save for the time. 3:33 a.m. Then I heard it. A soft click behind me, like a door unlocking. I spun around, my heart hammering. At the far end of the parking lot, where there shouldn't have been anything but concrete, a door now stood. A plain, unmarked door, illuminated by a faint red glow. I don't know why, but I felt drawn to it. Like gravity itself was pulling me closer. My phone buzzed again, and despite my fear, I looked. Enter. I wanted to run, to scream, to wake up from this nightmare. But some part of me knew there was no escaping this. Not until I confronted it. The door opened as I approached, revealing a staircase that spiraled downward into darkness. The air was cold and damp, and the faint hum of static filled my ears. I took one hesitant step, then another, the knife still clutched in my hand. As I descended, the light from the parking lot faded, replaced by the flickering glow of old, bare bulbs lining the walls. Each step felt heavier, as if the air itself was thickening, pressing down on me. At the bottom of the stairs was a room. It was stark and empty, save for a single chair in the center. Sitting on the chair was an old computer, its monitor glowing with the same black and white profile picture I'd seen earlier. At Phantom Echoes, the screen flickered, and text began to appear. Welcome. You made it this far. Now, the game ends. My voice cracked as I finally spoke aloud. What do you want from me? The screen went dark, and for a moment, I thought the computer had shut off. But then, a distorted voice filled the room, echoing from nowhere and everywhere at once. We wanted you. Why me? I shouted, my voice trembling. The monitor flickered back to life, and images began flashing on the screen. Pictures of me from months ago, years ago, walking to school, sitting with friends, laughing with my mom. It felt like my entire life was being played back to me. You have been watched, chosen, a vessel for what comes next. I didn't understand. None of it made sense. You're lying. I screamed, gripping the knife tighter. The voice laughed, a low, guttural sound that made my skin crawl. You've been part of the network since the beginning. Every message, every post, every keystroke. You made yourself ours. No, I shouted. I don't even know what you are. We are everything, the voice replied. The whispers in the wires, the ghosts in the code. You cannot escape us because we are you. The lights flickered wildly, and I felt the room closing in, the walls pulsating as if they were alive. My phone buzzed one last time. I glanced down and saw a single word. Submit? No. I screamed, lunging at the computer. I drove the knife into the monitor, sparks flying as the screen shattered. The lights went out, plunging the room into darkness. For a moment, there was silence. Then, a low, rhythmic clicking filled the air. It grew louder and louder until it was deafening, like 1,000 keyboards typing at once. I felt something cold wrap around my wrist, pulling me back. Another tendril wrapped around my ankle, yanking me to the ground. I thrashed and screamed, but the grip was unyielding. The distorted voice returned, closer this time, as if whispering directly into my ear. You can't destroy us. You are already part of the system. I struggled, kicking and clawing at the unseen forces dragging me toward the center of the room. The clicking grew louder, echoing in my head, drowning out every thought but one. I have to get out. The cold tendrils tightened, and I felt myself sinking. Not into the floor, but into something else entirely. The ground beneath me dissolved into a swirling black void, speckled with faint, glowing threads like a web. The walls and ceiling melted away, leaving only endless darkness. The voice spoke again, now a chorus of overlapping tones, each one burrowing into my mind. You are one with us now. A node in the network. A message in the system. No. I screamed, but my voice sounded distant, like it was being pulled from me and scattered into the void. Images flashed around me, people scrolling on their phones, typing on their keyboards, laughing at glowing screens. I saw their messages, their private thoughts, their secrets. It was a vast, infinite stream of data, and I was sinking into it, becoming part of it. I closed my eyes, refusing to give in, but the clicking continued, relentless and maddening. My limbs went numb, my thoughts blurred, and then nothing. When I opened my eyes, I was in my apartment. The knife was gone, the messages erased. The air was still and quiet, as if none of it had happened. My phone sat on the coffee table, its screen dark. For a moment, I thought I'd dreamed it all. But then I noticed the clock. 3:33 a.m. It hadn't changed. And then my phone buzzed. I didn't want to look, but my hand moved on its own, picking it up. A single message blinked on the screen, its text glowing faintly in the darkness. Welcome to the system. And that's when I realized I couldn't move. My fingers hovered above the screen, trembling, but they wouldn't respond. My body felt heavy, disconnected, like a puppet whose strings had been cut. The phone buzzed again, and this time, my hand moved without my command, typing a response. Who's next? The screen flickered, and for the briefest moment, I saw my reflection in its glass. But it wasn't me. My eyes were hollow, glowing faintly with the same static black and white profile picture that had haunted me from the start. I wasn't free. I wasn't me anymore. I was part of the network. And now, it's watching you.